Even when they steal money, they don't keep it in Africa. They have no faith in their own country. How will young people have faith in their country? Do you know that Nigerian women spend 34 billion United States dollars to import fake hair from Brazil? Do you know? Because serious jobs are then not created here, they are created elsewhere. Good politics create the oxygen from which the economy breathes. You cannot water the desert with a teaspoon. Your contribution must be upscaled so that it becomes Nigerian. The first thing that we must do is to sanitize. All revolutions have started with that. One of the largest producers of palm wine in the world is now Malaysia, not Nigeria. When politics stumbles, the country pays. Part of the African problem is the quality. When you look at your typical African country, look at the continent of Africa, look at our entire GDP. The 1.5 billion of us, at the very best, is 1 or 2 trillion United States dollars. Even measuring our economies, we use the currency of another country. The economy of Germany only is 2 times the economy of all the 54 African countries combined. That is how pathetic we are. And if you look at your typical African politician or civil servant, even when they steal money, they don't keep it in Africa. They have no faith in their own country. How will young people have faith in their country? How? If your thieving politician has no faith in the country that he or she is running, why should an 18-year-old have faith in that country? Why? If your typical African politician and civil servant has no education system, they are sending their children to Australia and Canada, why should a young 18-year-old have faith in our education system? Why should we have faith in our health system when if our presidents and ministers and other senior officials are sick, they go to the United States of America and even now to Saudi Arabia and Dubai? Why? Why? Have you ever heard the Prime Minister of Singapore going to hostel in some place? Yet here in Nigeria in the early 1960s, I'm told, King Fahd of Saudi Arabia came for treatment here in Nigeria. He came here. What happened? What happened that no longer happens? What happened that there used to be a major leather factory in Kaduna and Nigeria was known for producing leather? What happened that today 3/4 of all of you who are present here are wearing shoes which is made in Italy? Except you. What happened that the tables that we are sitting here on, all these tables are imported from China, including the fake flowers? What happened? And I'm saying we are here for serious business because serious jobs are then not created here, they are created elsewhere. The best we can do is for somebody to open an event company at which they then import from China and they come here and charge 1 million naira. That is the only job they can create. Meanwhile, jobs for millions are created in China. That is the reality. That is the reality. It gladdens my heart when you, Governor, are described in favorable terms as having tried to do something. But one swallow does not make a summer. You cannot water the desert with a teaspoon. Your contribution must be upscaled so that it becomes Nigerian. Nigerians are some of the best dressed men and women in the world. But do you know that Nigerian women spend 34 billion United States dollars to import fake hair from Brazil? Do you know? And you know that that is bigger than the GDP, 1 year GDP of Rwanda, Burundi, South Sudan, and Seychelles combined on fake hair only? Can't we make them here? Can't we? I will not be surprised that even this thing is from China. So I'm saying that it all is in the mind. So in order to solve this problem, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing that we must do is to sanitize our politics. Let us not run away from it. Dr. Chibo, we cannot avoid. That is the elephant in the room. Because history has demonstrated. The good ambassador here, Sani, was telling me he was the envoy of Nigeria to Vietnam. All of you who are slightly older here will know that Vietnam was bombed to the ground. Ho Chi Minh City bombed to the ground. The Americans used Agent Orange to destroy their soil. Because of focused, dedicated, patriotic political leaders. What happened? Today, Vietnam is one of the leading producers of apparatus. Today, Vietnam rivals Kenya and Uganda combined in production of coffee. Today, the GDP of Vietnam is bigger than all East African countries combined. What did it take? Political hygiene. Mauritius, with a population of only 1.8 million, every African now wants to have an office address in Port Louis in Mauritius. What did it take? Sound politics, dedicated politics. Singapore, and many of you here have read Lee Kuan Yew's from first world to third, from third world to first world. What did it take? When Singapore was expelled from the Malaysian Federation, its obituary was written. What did he do? He said, we are going to make it work. It is working. Sound politics. Because politics create the oxygen. Good politics create the oxygen from which the economy breathes. When the economy breathes, then things begin to happen. Mindsets begin to change. You begin to create opportunities at home. Do you know we import fish from China? Do you know we import chicken from Brazil? Do you know in my hotel, I looked at the milk that was provided to me. It is called Hollandia. Do you know it is a Coca-Cola product? Here in Nigeria, in Abuja, milk in my hotel in Abuja. Hollandia, Coca-Cola, the United States. Did the cows in Nigeria forget how to produce milk? Why do I say this? Because the jobs are then created elsewhere and young men must jump up. Because here what we are doing is to consume only. Look at the water industry in Africa today. Water that we drink. I'm happy that the bottles on our desk are not have not been bought by Coca-Cola. But that is only for now. Coca-Cola is buying all water companies across the continent. And Nestle. And here we are, praying and fasting. For how long shall we pray and fast? while the divine instruction was go in and subdue the earth. We have allowed the earth to subdue us. So clean your politics first. Create an environment where you young men and women can think, as Doctor said. Then begin to feed yourself. All revolutions have started with agrarian revolution. Today, you come to Africa, the palm wine that was originally here in Nigeria, one of the largest producers of palm wine in the world is now Malaysia. Not Nigeria. Nigerians still come to weddings with dirty jerrycans because they have not packaged palm wine. Yet Nigerians are some of the most educated people on earth. And not only Nigerians, Kenyans, Ugandans, Tanzanians, Ghanaians, all of us have sinned and fallen short of the expectation of our Creator. Suppose how many jobs could be created if we got our agriculture right? How many jobs could be created if we got our fishing right? Why would a young 18-year-old boy and girl want to go to their house out in Kuwait or Saudi Arabia or a medical doctor in an old people's home in Germany? Why? It is because there are no opportunities. Create opportunities, and agriculture is one of them. Then research and development. In Africa, I'm happy today that this particular function is not sponsored by the usual suspects. You go to any typical African meeting, it is GIZ, it is UKA, it is CEDA Sweden, it is CEDA Canada, it is the European Union. I'm very happy you did not do that. Even the things that we can do, we don't allow them to do. You know, we can do it. You know, last night, when I was watching news and I saw that one of Africa's entrepreneurs, Aliko Dangote, had gone to my degree and donated 1 billion, I said, this is it. This is it. Not some English musician coming there with $100,000. An African Nigerian went to my degree and said, 1 billion naira, I donated. Where has he made his money? Here in Nigeria. It means that dollars can be made in Nigeria. If dollars can be made in Nigeria, why are we running away to other parts of the world? You now have a refinery run by a Nigerian. Good thing. When I came here from Lagos, I flew Air Peace. Good. The only thing that I want is that we now have our own plane in the next 20 years. It will not be Boeing and Airbus. Ibom Air, I flew it once to Akwa Ibom, to Uyo. Good. When you do that, then the jobs will be created here. Then our universities will stop being glorified high schools whose only claim to fame is to graduate people who know very little. Research and development. This is what will stem Japa. And it is our duty to speak to our leaders candidly, in the hope that they will understand and appreciate, because what we now have in Africa is not sustainable until and unless we address it. So I've talked about the other solution is to have clear policy guidelines which are then implemented. You know, one of Africa's greatest claims to fame is coming up with the treaties and the policies and protocols, which we then honor and breach. I believe that if Africa is to ensure that we will regulate migration, and we already have an African protocol for regulation of migration, it ran from the year 2018 to 2030. Those of you who did not know about it, there is actually a framework that ran from 2018 to 2030. But how many people in this room know about it? We don't. And if we do that and we allow intra-African trade, then jobs will be created here. Right now, and I may be wrong by a few percentage points, if you go to Europe now, intra-European trade is at about 70%. The good ambassador from Belgium may correct me, but just about 70%. If you go to North America, it's just about 68%. If you go to Asia, it's about 65% now. If you go to Latin America, it's about 45%. If you go to the Pacific, it's about 60%. Intra-African trade is anything between 18 and 20% intra-African trade. So that if you go to a restaurant in Abuja, you go to a restaurant in Abuja, you go to a restaurant in Lagos, the coffee that we are consuming is Nescafe from Nestle in Switzerland. The tea that you are drinking is Lipton from the United Kingdom, which does not have a single bush of tea. The tea has been imported from Kenya, Pakistan, or Ceylon, and has been packaged. And when you are in Abuja, you are saying, I'm drinking Lipton. Why can't you import tea from Kenya? Why can't you import tea from Uganda? Why can't we import cocoa from Ghana? Why can't we import leather from Nigeria? Why can't we import cotton from Malawi? Why can't we import chicken and beef from Botswana? Because if we do so, we'll create jobs in the continent of Africa, and nobody will run away to Europe and America. The time is now for us to think and think seriously as a people. You know, one of my greatest fears as an African is this, that if we are not very careful, Africa will be recolonized again. A Zambian nationalist called Simon Kapwepwe, who was a minister in Kaunda's first cabinet, said, the people who have gone away as our former colonizers will come back. And if we are not organized, they'll come back as donors or investors. But they will control us. And once they control us, as the good doctor said, Africa will continue to play the role that it did in those years. During the days of slavery, there was Japa, but it was involuntary Japa. Millions of us were taken to the Caribbean. That was Japa of a different kind. They are to be found in the Caribbean, they are to be found in the United States of America. Today, our young men and women in the middle class, when your wife is expectant, what do? You send them to Minnesota in the United States so that the child may be born in the United States of America to become an American citizen, not Nigeria, no. Why? That we continue to play the same menial roles. You know, this jumper will continue, but I'm talking about my fear. Even the things we can do, we don't do. You travel in different parts of Nigeria, I land at Muritala Mohammed Airport. What do I see? The planes bearing the logo of DHL. DHL is the German postal services. We can't run post offices in Africa. And they are to be found everywhere in Africa. When you have DHL, where are the jobs created? In Germany, not in Nairobi, not in Nigeria, not in Ghana. I go to a hotel, Marriott in Lagos. There are Nigerians who meet me at the door are wearing shirts bearing G4S. British company coming to employ security men here. Can we run our security? Can't we? When I'm traveling around here and I go to Uyo or even here in Abuja, who is winning the contracts? I mean no harm. Julius Berger. Don't we have engineers? Who built your stadium here? Chinese. Don't we have Dangote cement here? Can't we build them? If I want to eat chicken, it is Kentucky Fried Chicken, not Katsina Fried Chicken. Why? If I want anything, a taxi here, it is Uber from San Francisco or Bolt from Lithuania. If I want to get fuel in Nigeria, apart from a sprinkling of few others, it is Total Energy from France. If I want to deliver an item, it is Globo from Spain. Why can't young people jump up? Because the jobs are created there. And I must now conclude because it's too much. So I'm saying today that we have a duty to ask ourselves fundamental questions. You know, my wife is present here, and when we were flying, I told her that Africa needs to hold 3 major meetings in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. 3. Meeting number 1, with only a single agenda item. What is wrong with us? That's agenda item number 1. What is wrong with us? Because something definitely is wrong with the way we are doing things. Then we go away to reflect. Then we come again for agenda item number 2. What can we do about it? Then we go away and come for agenda item number 3. Within what time should we do it? Because it has been done. When we talk about Japa, and the good doctor said it correctly, Japa, this innocent Yoruba word, has now acquired different shades of meaning, but the proper meaning is that it means all migration. But the one that we are talking about and against is irregular migration. Ban Ki-moon, who was a former Secretary General of the United Nations Organization, said that migration has been the mother's milk of human civilization. I don't disagree at all. It has been. I know countries that allow for regular migration of labor even at the lowest level. Philippines is one of them. It allows even house help to go to the Arab world. But they know each one of them. If you are the Nigerian government, the Kenyan government, the Ghanaian government, how many of your nationals are in the United Kingdom? They do not know. They go to the International Organization for Migration and they get statistics there. From a researcher who was possibly an undergraduate student at the university in Oxford, who came here and collected some data which is not even verified, and that is what we all go with at conference and say, IOM says. We must style up. Because it is only when we style up that we will be respected. And I'm suggesting that an organization such as this, and I'm very glad that the Honorable Minister is here. I'm glad, Honorable Minister. Because, Honorable Minister, you came earlier than everybody else, and Honorable Minister, you went for another engagement, and Honorable Minister, you came back. Your typical African minister does not do that. Your typical African minister would have come, would have spoken first, then would have had a photo opportunity, then he disappears. But you are here to listen to this unpleasant information because we are saying it with love. With love for our country, with love for our country. And you know, I want to conclude with this. And I've said it here in Nigeria and outside. As long as Nigeria does not get it right, Africa will never get it right. That is a fact. 1 out of every 5 African is Nigerian. Is Nigerian. If you go to hospitals in the United States of America, you go to the United Kingdom and other places, they are all led, or most of them led by Nigerians. Even Nigerian politicians and civil servants who japa for medical services, they go there and they find Izobi. Isako or Sali. They discover the same Nigerians who are treating them, but in a different setting. Why do the doctors go there? Because the environment is hostile. Nigeria must get it right, and Nigeria can get it right. And there are examples. I've traveled, I've had the fortune of traveling across Nigeria. I was telling my Kenyan politicians who love to go to China for benchmarking for roads, I told them, go to Uyo. Go to Akwa Ibom and see roads. Come to Abuja and see roads which are done well. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to discuss an important and solemn subject. It gladdens my heart. Many of, for the 18th and 35th, the great Chinua Achebe once said, where are the young suckers that will grow when the old bananas die? Most of the people sitting here in front, these are old bananas. But their joy is that they are young suckers. Their joy is that they have gone through spaces. The honorable ambassadors who are here have had the advantage and fortune. The honorable governor, the honorable minister, my good friend from Belgium, will say that they were also jabbering. The Belgians. They jabbered here. And if you go to Belgium, they were jabbering for their country. They came here and took things from Africa here to make, if you go, and excuse me for being candid, honorable person. If you go to Brussels now, they came here and they did it for their country. If you go to Antwerp now, the price of a diamond is still set in Antwerp. Why? Because they were doing it for their country. Not that I like what they did, I don't. But at least they were selfish enough to do it for their country. You never hear a Belgian stealing money from Brussels and keeping in Abuja. But we steal money in the Democratic Republic of Congo and keep it in Brussels, in numbered accounts, which even your wife or husband does not know. When you die, they are the only ones who know. So, ladies and gentlemen, my desire is that Nigeria succeeds. this anthem that you sang, is it the new one or the old one? But I love this anthem because it is saying the tribe or differences does not matter. We are one Nigeria. Diversity of Nigeria, 300 and something different peoples who, if they come together, Nigeria should not import food. And the day Nigeria stops importing food, there will be a million of jobs here. Nigerians will not jump up. The day we have water in every home in Nigeria, we will have the planners that you were talking about and level number one. The day Nigeria gets it right, we'll have people talking about the fourth industrial revolution and artificial intelligence. One of the things that is happening in Nigeria now, look at the Nigerian banks in Africa. Access, UB, GTZ. You are succeeding in that area. Look at the area of fintech. Nigeria is doing something, but Nigerians must know that your GDP of 500 billion, never talk about it. Never talk about your GDP being 500 billion. It is a shame. Keep it quiet until in 5 years your GDP is 2 trillion. Then you can begin talking. Because that is what Nigeria can do to the rest of us. Once you are 2 trillion, then you begin to talk. Then we begin to, Nigeria can then become the anchor of West Africa. And when Nigeria becomes the anchor of West Africa, there will be no Java in West Africa. When South Africa becomes the anchor of Southern Africa, there will be no Java from Southern Africa. When the Democratic Republic of Congo becomes the anchor of Central Africa, there will be no Java from Central Africa. When Egypt and Morocco become the anchors, there will be no Java from the Maghreb. When Kenya and Uganda and Ethiopia and Tanzania become the anchors, there will be no Java from East Africa, and Africa will become a respectable continent because we'll have solved all our problems. But of course, not all problems can be solved. Most of our nagging problems, and our young people will be proud to be in the continent of Africa, dignified. And that dignity is what will make Africa to be respected throughout the world.
Nigerians, we need to wake up. See, we need to begin to take actions. And you know, we can't just continue talking like this, because what I have observed is we just talk. After 3 or 4 days, the matter dies down. No, what we should do now is seize the opportunity of the Freedom of Information Act and begin to ask questions. We need to start writing petitions. Because without petitions, these security agencies, anti-graft agencies, they will pretend as if they don't know what's going on. And in fact, I won't blame them, because as far as the NNPC is concerned, it's only what they tell EFCC that EFCC can know. It's only what they even tell Tinubu that Tinubu can know. He can know more if he's savvy enough. But you know, because of his age, I am very certain that Mele Kyari and his cohorts at the NNPC are giving Tinubu the runaround. But what does he care? So far as he gets his billions. So it is up to us to come together and begin to use Freedom of Information Act to request for information and begin to use petitions. We need to begin to write petitions. I'm drafting one. When I am done with it, I'm going to present it. So the petition will not be coming from one person. When it's coming from one person, it's easy for them to target that person, either by bribing the person or by taking the person out. But if it's coming from many people, then it's difficult. That's blockchain technology. It's difficult for them to take the person out or take any person out, or even bribe any person. So for security reasons, the petitions, the Freedom of Information Act, all of these things must be coming from different people. We must all take action together. And of course, we need to change all of these leaders. If you have not joined us, we need to create a political party with clearly stated ideologies. I did a video about the ideologies. It's on this channel, it's on this platform. Watch it. And then we need to come together to form that new political party. All you need is just click a link. That's all. Nobody's asking you for any money. So that together we can change this country. Enough of all this rubbish.